Hey everyone, I wanted to go over the new and exciting news that we got for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak that's set to release onto the Nintendo Switch and on PC via Steam next summer. And that's the fact the official Monster Hunter Rise Twitter account in both Japan and North America decided to leave something like an end of the year message to provide us with just a little bit of information regarding Monster Hunter Rise's Sunbreak release. In the North America one actually reads, "Hello everyone, the entire development team is truly grateful for the warm comments we received since the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. We're gearing up to share some great reveals with everyone next spring. Stay tuned." This is from director Suzuki, obviously for Sunbreak. On the official Japanese Monster Hunter Rise Twitter account, it actually reads, "I'm Suzuki, the director. Since I started tweeting here, I've received a ton of warm comments from everyone, and all the development is encouraging. Next year is finally the last spur and push for the game as it releases for Sunbreak. I think we'll be able to deliver a lot of information around spring, so please wait and have a nice year." Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that just a few days ago, I talked about this original tweet that they made, I believe late last week, where they just basically said, we're going to give you more information next spring and then provide any actual context with it. I had to look up more information, and it turned out that during a Famitsu interview, both director Ichinose and producer Ryoto Sugimoto went ahead and actually spoke with Famitsu and provided details. And that's where the quote about next spring and new information coming out and basically later in the year, that's where that pretty much official information came from. Now Suzuki on Twitter is actually tackling it head on and saying the same thing. Basically, we're going to get something around the spring. Now, this is, again, I've talked about this before already. This is in direct contrast to the information that we were providing, where they were like officially just kind of like dropping tweets, I believe once a week, with a little bit of information regarding the game. And apparently that's probably not going to continue until they actually go ahead and drop big news regarding the game in spring. I did see a couple of comments in the last video where I tackled some information similar to this, where people were asking me, well, when does this actually mean that we're going to get a trailer in April? And the answer is presumably yes. It would have to mean that, you know, when it comes to spring, late March usually is the beginning of spring. I believe the 20th of March is the last day of winter, and then spring begins on the 21st, or maybe it's the 20th. I can't remember exactly. But it usually means that, you know, probably by the late March, because remember, they do have fiscals before. So fiscals are like usually like what every company in Japan does, like quarterly reports, and fiscals for them, the end of the year for 2021 would be March 30th, I believe, like the last day of March. So they have to provide some sort of incentive for their investors to say like, hey, the next quarter, meaning spring, we're going to provide something to our audience that will be exciting and people are going to want to spend their money on our product. So presumably, in the reason why they're choosing spring is because it's the beginning of the 2022 fiscal year, and they want to focus all their efforts, at the very least, perhaps the first half of the year, into like Sunbreak and have that be their biggest driver for profits. Presumably, that's the business side of it. Like, that's where they choose to do that. A lot of companies choose to release stuff at the end of March so they can, like, you know, have like a big fiscal, like a big dump of money coming in before the end of the year for them. Because again, it's on March 30th. So that's the logical side of it, like the let's say business side of it. But at the end of the day, for consumers, it doesn't really matter. We just want the game as soon as possible, and hopefully it works exactly as advertised. So, you know, it makes sense why they're choosing spring, but it goes against everything they've said so far, which is like, we're going to keep providing you with weekly information and little updates throughout the entire process. We've talked about the long roadmap as the game was revealed in September, and we pretty much had to wait a long time for information to be coming out. So perhaps this is just a shift of like direction of how they're going to promote the game and how they're choosing to do it. This might have something to do with COVID. Obviously, we know that's been impacting things and causing delays all over the world, but it's understandable. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, that's probably the reasons. And also we did know, and I've reported on this, that we were expected to see something in January, some sort of Capcom presentation. What they're saying here right now is basically going against that information. So don't expect that presentation any longer, even though we were hearing information that something was going to happen, presumably in January. But if they're saying spring, then they have no real incentive to provide anything before then. But that's about all the information that I wanted to go over. A little bit of reiteration, a little bit of clarification as to why things they are the way they are. It's understandable from their side of it, but you know, it's still a long way regardless. We still got 3 more months. Or again, at the end of March, at the very earliest, we could probably see some information, and it sucks just to wait. Continue to wait, because, you know, that's all we've been doing already. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.